The Kegan, a special eye technique only in Hibari's family, and in Naruto terms, Kekkei passed down through family generations of family traits. Hibari, one of the clumsiest ninjas way before coming to Hanzo Academy, awakened it, and anyone who awakens it in Hibari's family is known as the heir to that family legacy. It's basically a puppet controlling type of technique, and mostly for hypnotists as well. This simple special eye technique allows you to take control of your opponent's mind in battle. For example, by only looking into that person's eye, into that controller's eye, you're literally just opening yourself, you're letting them open yourself inside just to use that technique to control you. Another example, Itachi's Tsukuyomi. If you look into his eyes, boom, you're literally opening yourself inside, just do that shit.
Close your eyes! Don't look at his eyes!
Special Sharingan jutsu called Tsukuyomi.
One thing about Hibari is that she never wanted to be a shinobi. The truth is she wanted to open a shop up full of sweets. I can understand why Hibari wouldn't want to be a ninja. She's sometimes even afraid in battle against her opponents, and she doesn't really stand a chance at times. She's done a lot of screw-ups and mistakes in the first season of Senran Kagura, even in Burst Renewal. I think those like that's literally the only game she's made a mistake in. But Hibari is basically known as the weakest character in Senran Kagura if you actually look at it, but she actually improves throughout the Senran Kagura games. And season 2 of Senran Kagura, I don't think she's had any screw-ups or mistakes. She's gotten a lot stronger since then. Hibari has a very tragic backstory, and she comes from a long, noble family who have spawned for generations. All of her brothers and sisters were at the top of their game. They were like far better than Hibari in every way, but out of all of those experienced shinobi in her family related to her, Hibari was the only one chosen as the heir because she was the first to awaken her Kegan. But as I said, she didn't want to be a shinobi. She wanted to open up a place full of sweets. Honestly, because Hibari had a tragic backstory and stuff, I expected all of her siblings, her brothers and sisters, to literally just make fun of her each time she screws up on her training. But when she awakened her Kegan, all of them just praised her and stuff. Because like awakening the Kegan, especially in Hibari's family, is like an amazing thing. Although Hibari didn't awaken it on her own manually. She basically awakened it uncontrollably. Like she awakened it auto or something like that. Like how Goku became a Super Saiyan randomly through rage and stuff. Hibari literally just awakened the Kegan, not in her way, but it's just in a random kind of way. It just came out of nowhere just like that. And Hibari even believes that she used the Kegan to control her family just to make them praise her. The only time this technique is displayed in any of the Senran Kagura games is only in Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus. As you can see right here, I remember doing a stream before. I did a stream a couple weeks ago for Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus during the Hanzo story, where it basically shows that Hibari randomly uses the Kegan. And like I said, she doesn't use it manually. She doesn't even know how to use the awakened Kegan she awakened years ago, way before she came to Hanzo. She used it randomly. Like she didn't use it herself. It literally just came out of nowhere randomly. By looking into your opponent's eyes, by looking into anyone's eyes, if they look into your eyes, then boom, you're basically opening yourself in there just for them to take control of you. It's a puppeteering kind of technique, and it randomly used, like she randomly used it against Asuka and them. She didn't use it. The Kegan randomly just happened on its own and just went on Asuka and the others and controlled them. And he had to play as Hibari in order to snap them out of the control and shit like that. Honestly, the only two Senran Kagura games that this technique has ever been shown in is, yes, Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus, except you cannot use this technique. You can't, when you play as Hibari, you cannot use this technique. It is only showed in the story for the game, and it's also shown in Senran Kagura New Wave, which I have not played. Now, people have asked, why is Hibari's eyes like, why does Hibari's eyes look like Naruto's Sage Mode / Ninetales eyes together, like a little cross? Well, that's basically the reason why. Hibari's eyes are, the Kegan comes in a flower petal shaped pupil, basically. That's why Hibari's eyes are crossed like that. It is manifested in a flower shaped type of shit, like a flower tape type of way, basically. I don't know, but that's how it basically looks. That's how her eyes are, they're flower petal shaped, Now, I said before that Hibari believed that when she awakened Kegan, she randomly used it to control her family members, her siblings, her brothers and sisters, any of her family. But the truth is, Kegan isn't really a strong enough technique to change everyone's behavior all the time. This is something Haruka said in Senran Kagura Shinobi Versus while Asuka and them were training with Homina's Crimson Squad. That was something Haruka said. Kegan isn't strong enough to change everyone's behavior all the time. What I'm trying to say is, how strong do you think Hibari's Kegan is? If it's that much of a legendary thing, a well-known type of technique, do you honestly think it would work in the battle against Shin, in their upcoming battle against Shin? I honestly doubt it, because if it's not that strong enough to always work all the time, then someone such as Shin, who is very strong and legendary, isn't really gonna be, isn't really gonna be defeated by such technique like that, isn't gonna be controlled by a technique like that. Because if you're controlled by a technique like that, then honestly, we gotta see, alright? But I still think this technique should be used in Senran Kagura games. I know it was shown in New Wave, and it was only shown in the story for Shinobi Versus, but honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, this technique needs to be shown in more Senran Kagura games, and more Senran Kagura fighting games. I just think it seems like a useful technique to use, and if Hibari can train a little bit harder, she could actually use this technique in battle. Hibari is a clumsy shinobi who's made a lot of mistakes in Senran Kagura. Only in Senran Kagura Burst Renewal, which are both the same since one is remastered and the other is basically way before the remastered. But as I said, Hibari made a lot of mistakes. By training to use this technique, honestly, if you look at it, she's special in her own way. Lots of people believe because, oh, Hibari's clumsy as hell, she's not a good shinobi. This is basically something that makes her special. To come from a noble family like this, and to awaken this technique, even though she didn't awaken it, it awakened randomly. I still think it's amazing though, because it just shows that Hibari is special in her own way, and if that she can train to, use this technique more. She doesn't really like using this technique. She doesn't like it. If she really did like this technique, she'd train a little bit harder to use it. I mean, back then when she was training with her family and stuff, she'd always screw up on all of her training, but her family didn't care. I used to think that since Hibari had a tragic, backstory and shit like that, that each time she screws up on her training, her family or anyone would just make fun of her, even her own parents. But honestly, they didn't care. They just, she continued to train and stuff, and they forgave her so many times each time she screwed up. But when meeting Yagyu, she got her training right. She got stronger and she got her training right when training together with Yagyu. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this technique would be useful in the battle against Shin? It doesn't look like it's a good technique and all, but it doesn't look like the technique's gonna work all the time. Honestly, I don't really know what to say. I felt like explaining this because I also wanted to talk about Hibari's backstory. But Kegan is, as I said, Kegan is a special eye technique, and it's only awakened generation to generation. It's like in Naruto terms, a Kekkei Genkai, which is a trait passed down generation to generation, something special about yourself. But what do you guys think about this power? Is it good enough? Would it really help in the upcoming battle against Shin? Would Hibari really want to use this technique, or would she rather fight with her regular shinobi skills? Because as it stands, Hibari's shown a lot of improvement throughout her training and all that stuff for each of the Senran Kagura games. Even if we haven't seen her train that much, she still gets stronger. Thanks to Yagyu, thanks to meeting Yagyu, she still gets stronger. But what do you think about this? I honestly don't have that much to say, because there's not that much to say about this technique. If there was more to know about this technique, I would have literally told you, but this is all I know about Hibari's Kegan technique. It's a very special puppeteering technique. It's almost like blood bending in Avatar, except that, when Katara uses the blood bending, she's using it physically and all that shit. She's literally using her hands and stuff like that and controlling that person. Kegan allows you to go into the person's mind. It allows you to look into the person's mind and control them. And that only happens if your opponent looks into your eyes. And as I said, Kegan is manifested. It is manifested into the shape of a flower petaled eye. So, for people who have asked why is Hibari's eyes so different from Asuka and the others, it is because of her special clan technique. Special technique passed on through her clan through generations, the Kegan. The puppeteering technique. So other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about Hibari's Kegan eye. What do you guys have to say? Do you guys think this is a pretty interesting technique, or do you guys honestly think that Hibari's just useless in general? Because I don't think Hibari's useless in general if this technique is well known and can work on some shinobi. It was able to work on Asuka and them mostly because they looked into Hibari's eyes. But this technique isn't known to work all the time, from what Haruka said. It doesn't work on everyone's behavior. So other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'll be doing more Senran Kagura discussions. If this video gets a lot of likes, I'll probably upload another Senran Kagura discussion for other certain characters, who have special things, other things like that, other backstories. If you want to see them, come to this channel. Otherwise, it is your boy, the Powerful Swordsman, signing out, aka the Bonkai to the motherfucking Central. I already know who it is.